All right, so we're going to continue on. And in this particular session, we're going to be looking at how to use the history command. Now, again, all of these are just foundational pieces. You're going to absolutely need these skills once you get into the actual pen testing, threat hunting, incident response, whatever it is. These skills are going to be tangible. And I just have to keep reminding you of that in each video. So we were in foundational skills. We were looking at specifically Linux, and we already covered cat, awk, and grep. Now we're going to look at history and basically just show you how you can use a history command to see all the commands that you've entered. Because one of the things that you're going to find that's a challenge is you will enter all these commands. You'll go through these exercises pretty quickly, but then you might not be able to exactly remember what it is you type specifically. And the history command is great for that. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so to begin with, we can just let's just start with entering the command history by itself. So if you just enter history, you will see a list of all the commands that you've entered in the order that you entered them. So that's the first most basic concept of it. A couple things that you want to remember is one, remember how we printed just the link string or just the lines that had the string link in it by using this specific awk command? Well, one thing you can do is a long way to do this is you can actually just run history and of course pipe it to grep that you learned about, and you can grep for link, right? And you'll see that command is, oh, there it is right there. You can see where it is. Another thing you can do is you can actually just enter the command's number with the exclamation point, like so, and enter that number, in this case 1588, and it will actually repeat that command that's at that line in the history. So that'll save you a lot of time as you're repeating commands. Now, as a beginner, I would encourage you to just make yourself type the commands out the long way every time. This is where you get the muscle, mind memory thing going. And it also makes you learn the command as you type it manually. But as you get more advanced with it and you really know what these commands are, then it becomes not as relevant for you to type the command out in full every time, especially when you get on a real engagement and you're trying to be fast and efficient. This little history trick can save you a lot of time. One other thing that I want to show you as well with history is you can actually reverse grep through history. So what I mean by that is, I think everybody knows, if you hit the up arrow, like so, you can see it's just repeating the commands that you've entered in order. And I'm just literally hitting the up key repeatedly here, all right? One thing to note about that is if you do a Control R, so if I did Control and then R, it brings up this reverse search, which will basically reverse grepping through the history. And now, for example, if I type the command awk and then I do Control R repeatedly as like a toggle, it toggles me through every time I've entered the awk command. So instead of looking through all of history, I'm just looking through history as it relates to the awk command. Just by, again, just holding down Control and repeatedly hitting R, it's toggling through all my awk commands. Same thing for cat and grep and others. So for example, if I did Control R and then did cat and then repeatedly hit Control R as a toggle, it toggles me through every cat command I've entered, okay? So that is going to actually save you a lot of time in the future as well. So again, take that little exercise that we just went through there, take it, practice with it, do things like write your history out to a file. Like I'm just gonna say history and then output it and say commands entered or something like that, right? Now we have basically a text file with all of our history in it, and then we can go through that and not only use it, but another good learning thing you can do is you can come in here and put yourself comments, basically say, hey, we were using awk to print any lines with the string L dot N, and then you can say dot being a wildcard to the screen from the file name example scan data.txt. All right. So you can do something like that, with your history file and give yourself notes so that you can remember exactly what it is you were doing when you entered that command. Just a little note like this, for example, is key because it reminds you that we're using dot as a wildcard here, right? Because if you look at it this way, where you've quickly added yourself some little notes in this text file, what you find is that is actually will help you remember it more than just looking at it in history, right? You see this and you're like, okay, so why did we do dot there again? But if you put yourself a note there as you're learning, it makes it stick in your mind better. So take some hours, take however long you need, practice with the history command, because again, as we move into the actual pen testing stuff, this is going to be absolutely critical that you have the skill set as we go through the more advanced exercises. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, in the comment section and share as much as you can. We're trying to help somebody here. We're literally trying to just get people prepared to go into a technical cybersecurity field, and just putting these basic tutorials out there so that you have something to work on before you go and jump into a class or something like that. So thanks again.